Rahab saved her family, stood against a doomed city, and became part of the lineage of Jesus Christ. This her story, the scarlet rope of redemption. In the bustling city of Jericho, known for its thick walls and pagan gods, there lived a woman named Rahab. Her house sat atop the Great Wall, overlooking the gate where travelers passed. Rahab was known as a harlot, a woman of ill repute in a city of corruption. But her heart was not as dark as her reputation. One day, two strangers arrived at her door, Israelite spies sent by Joshua. Rahab welcomed them and hid them without hesitation. Word of their arrival reached the king of Jericho. The king ordered Rahab to bring out the spies. But Rahab, quick in wisdom and courage, had hidden the men on her roof. She told the soldiers, "They have already left the city.
Open this
Pursue
gate
them
now!"
quickly." Once the pursuers had gone, Rahab climbed to the rooftop to speak to the spies. Her voice trembled, not with fear, but with faith. "I know the Lord has given you this land," she declared. "We have heard how your God dried the Red Sea before you. Our hearts melted in fear, for your God is the true God." Then she pleaded, "Swear to me by the Lord, you will spare my family." The spies agreed, offering a covenant of protection. "Tie a scarlet cord in your window, so we may know your home," they instructed. That scarlet cord became the thread of her salvation. For 3 days, Rahab waited, heart pounding, trusting in the God of Israel. Meanwhile, the spies returned safely to Joshua and reported all they had seen. "Truly the Lord has delivered the land into our hands," they said. The time came for Israel to move forward toward Jericho. Jericho shut its gates tightly in fear of the advancing Israelites. But God had a plan unlike any other, a plan of marching and trumpets. For 6 days, the Israelites marched silently around Jericho once each day. On the 7th day, they marched 7 times and then shouted. The walls of Jericho shook at their cry and crumbled to the ground. Amid the destruction, Rahab's house stood untouched. Joshua commanded the spies, "Go to the harlot's house and bring her out." The same men Rahab had hidden now came to rescue her. They led her, her father, her mother, her brothers, and all she had to safety. Rahab and her family were brought outside the camp of Israel. But unlike others, she was not cast aside, she was welcomed in time. Rahab, once a woman of shame, was now a woman of destiny. She married Salmon together. They had a son named Boaz, a man known for kindness and faith. Boaz would marry Ruth, another woman of faith and grace. From their line came King David, and later, Jesus the Messiah. Rahab's name, once spoken in shame, now echoed with honor among the people of God. Her faith had carved a legacy that reached beyond her lifetime. Though a Canaanite by birth, she was adopted into the family of Israel by faith. Rahab's courage saved not only her own life but her entire household. Her scarlet cord became a symbol of redemption and protection. Rahab believed in a God she had only heard about. Her house in the wall was not just shelter, it was the doorway to a new covenant. Her life was spared not by sword, but by surrender to God's power. Though her past was marked with sin, her future was written in grace. Rahab reminds us that God sees hearts, not history. Her act of bravery echoes as a call to trust, even when afraid. Jericho's walls fell, but Rahab's faith stood tall. In the world of idolatry, she chose the God of Israel. And through her, God wove redemption into the tapestry of history. Rahab's house became a holy shelter in the midst of a cursed city. Her window, marked by a scarlet cord, became a gateway of mercy. Every brick that crumbled in Jericho was a reminder of the power of God. And every soul in Rahab's house was a testimony of His mercy. God's grace did not bypass her because of her past. It embraced her because of her faith. The spies returned not only with a report, but with a rescued soul. In Rahab's rescue, God showed the world that faith can rise from any place. She chose to hide God's people, and in return, God sheltered her forever. The God of Israel, whom she had only heard of, became her God. Rahab didn't just survive, she became a seed in God's redemptive tree. From shame to significance, her story was rewritten by divine love. She walked from the ashes of Jericho into the promises of Israel. Her name became a testimony, not of scandal, but of salvation. She reminds us that God doesn't look for perfect vessels, just willing ones. Her scarlet thread still speaks today, of hope for the outsider. Rahab's faith was not loud, but it was life-changing. She didn't need a title to be used by God, only trust. The world called her harlot, but heaven called her hero. God used her to protect his future, the nation of Israel and the line of Christ. And to this day, her name shines in the lineage of the King of Kings. Rahab's courage in crisis made her a pillar in the foundation of faith. She risked her life not knowing the full plan, only knowing the true God. Rahab teaches us that obedience in secret brings reward in the open. Though surrounded by a doomed people, she chose a different destiny. Her faith crossed borders and tore down barriers. Rahab proved that redemption is not about where you begin, but where God takes you. She chose God over her nation, and in doing so, found her true family. Her one decision turned the tide for generations yet unborn. Her home was built into a wall, but her legacy broke through eternity. What seemed like a simple hiding place became a holy sanctuary. The red cord was not just a sign for the spies, it was a sign of covenant. God wrote Rahab's name into his divine story because of her belief. She did not know theology, but she knew trust. The God she feared became the God she followed. Her story is a mirror, reflecting how grace can find anyone, anywhere. Rahab reminds us that no one is too far for God to reach. Her name was once whispered in shame, now it's shouted in heaven. From Jericho come the king's bloodline, and from Rahab the harlot came Jesus the Savior, God's promise fulfilled. Please do well to like and subscribe.